Hey everyone, welcome to another video. I'm Narnia. As you can see, I'm not in any of my usual places to film because this is going to be a vlog. Uh, a while back, when I was at my parents' house, I found a couple of old books that I had and I brought some home with me, and part of those books were the Narnia series that I read and loved when I was a kid, and I was looking forward to rereading them. And I had half-made plans already with Pauline from Dancing Lawn that we would read them together. And as the dreary weather has been more and more present, and the second lockdown, well, lock-ish lockdown of the Netherlands is not a huge lockdown, but there's more and more staying at home. Christmas isn't going to be great, so I was already looking forward to reading Narnia in this kind of dreary setting because I know it's going to lift me up and just be very cozy. So I was talking to Pauline just a couple of days ago, and we decided that we were going to read it in December. Initially, I have had plans to do them all in a week, but I'm now happy that I'm not going to do that and just enjoy the ride. And today, we're now halfway through November, we're the 16th of November, and I was WhatsApping her, and I was like, yeah, I feel like starting now because the weather sucks. And well, in this discussion we both realized that we both need to pick me up, so we're starting today. So I just collected all 7. We decided on a order in which we were going to read them because Narnia, the order in which they have been published, is not the same as the chronological order of the books, and we decided we're going to read them in the chronological order. So I have now in front of me The Nephew's Magician by C.S. Lewis. We're doing kind of a mixed batch when it comes to languages because I have book 1, 3, 4, 6, and 7 in French. I have the second one, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, in English, and the fifth one, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, I have that one in Dutch, and Pauline is going to read them all in English. But yeah, this is the books that I had when I was young, so I'm so looking forward. I already feel so cozy. I've got my tea, I've got my scented candles. I already kind of snacked a little bit, although I just had some snacks. And I had to prevent myself from making hot cocoa, but I got some tea, and I just started like 15 minutes ago. Before I started, I was going to vlog it. I'm on page 20 and it's already delightful. It's been so long since I read these that already now like, oh, does this happen? And I'm just on page 20. So yeah. See you. I am loving all of these illustrations. I mean, look at this! Why don't more books have these? This one, and this one, and this one. Okay, these are all with this bad woman. They're also cutie ones. There was a, look at this cutie. Yay, it's happening! Narnia is being created! Those of you who don't know, this blog is going to contain spoilers, by the way. But yeah, in the first book, Narnia has been created, and it's when the last time I read this book, I read the Narnia series. It must have been, I don't know, 15 maybe, and I didn't know at that point that C.S. Lewis is very actively putting Christianity in his book. I had no idea of all the parallels. It's only 2 years ago when I reread The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe that I saw it, and I only saw it because I knew it was in there. Anyway, in this book, we've got enormous parallels with the Genesis as Narnia is being created. First there's light, and then and now Aslan also just appeared. And Aslan is... I'm still kind of in love with Aslan. So this sits next to Hey, we're now Thursday the 19th, and I just finished the first volume of the Chronicles of Narnia. It was really good idea to read this right now. It's because it's so cozy, and it's a children's book, so it's easy, and the clarity between good and bad is very obvious, and good things happen. And I had forgotten how funny it is also. Well, how funny. There are many funny things. So we've got, so this book, did I tell you what it's about? It's about a young boy and girl who get some magical rings and find a place that is in between worlds, and they go to one world, meet a very angry witch, and by mistake bring her back to the creation of another world, which is Narnia. And we see the creation of Narnia, which is a wonderful part of the book to read, with music and lots of animals and talking animals. And the part that I found really funny is how the animals treated the uncle of the young boy. They thought he was a tree, so they planted him and stuff like that. It's great to read that as in a book that you've read when you were a kid and you can't remember, but everything is, oh yeah, that happened. So that's a feast. So yeah, this was really good, and I'm not gonna pick up The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe directly because I want to let this simmer just a little bit. So I'll wait until tomorrow, or I start finishing my other books, because this is so cozy and delightful that the other books that I'm reading kind of got neglected. And they're also really good. It's just so different. Hola! It's time to start the second one. It's time to start The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So I'm reading the Narnia series with Pauline, and we have different reading speeds, which actually has been pretty great, because that means I'm taking my time a little bit more, and I think that's really good. And I've been so looking forward to starting this one. It's possibly one of my favorite. It's either this one is my favorite, or The Dawn Treader, or Prince Caspian. So I've only got 3 out of 7 that are potentially favorites, but this is the first one that I ever read, and it still has an inscription inside. It says in French, gifted by your mother during a great afternoon in Oxford in February 2000. So I lived in England for 1 year in the year 1999 and 2000. And we lived near Oxford, and once in a while we would go to Oxford, and apparently that is when my mother gifted me this. And I didn't only have the book, I also, because I was 8 at the time and reading English was a little bit too much, but I also had cassettes that told the story. And I had this my first Sony cassette player. I'll put a picture here. And I remember just putting those cassettes in and just hugging the thing to my chest and spending time listening to the stories. I listened to it way more often than I actually read it. It wouldn't surprise me if the cassettes don't work anymore, because I've listened to them too often. I think I've only actually read the book twice. And I know the first time that I read it, I realized, oh, there are pieces in the book that were not on the cassettes. So, I'm gonna start. I'm so happy to be seeing the pensive children, to be meeting Lucy and everything. So, I've also got my tea. I was planning on making a hot cocoa, but then I couldn't be bothered. It's Monday afternoon. I finished work. I cleaned the rabbit hutch. I don't have anything else to do. So let's go. Having listened to the audiobook 500 times when I was young means that I remember for every sentence how that narrator told the story. And it means I now have it, when I'm reading, I have a different tempo than my own tempo, but sometimes there are sentences that are shortened, or they just cut off a piece, or they cut off part of a paragraph or something, and then I don't have that natural tempo of the narrator. And it's weird because in my head I have his voice and I have my own voice now that are both telling the story, and they're not really in sync yet, so it's actually pretty disturbing. I love having his tempo in my head because it's just makes me happy, but it doesn't always work, and I know exactly which half sentences aren't on the audiobook. So, okay. I'm only one chapter in. It's still delightful. In the category weird snacks, I like to eat cauliflower. It's healthy. Hey, it's now Friday evening, and I'm gonna finish the Narnia book. I love these kind of evenings where it's just me, the boyfriend, on the couch. We've got our tea, the TV's on, I'm listening to music through my noise cancelling headphones so I can focus on my book, and just the perfect start of a weekend. Sometimes the best thing you can do in the evening is to just go in bed to read. So yeah, I went to bed. But I am at my favourite part of the book, and I think 15 years ago at least, I learned this part up by heart. And now I'm not as good at it, but when I come to it, it just really comes back to me. So I'm gonna read it to you. It's the part where Aslan, I had said already that this was going to be a spoilery vlog, but it's the part where Aslan is sacrificing himself, and yeah, so he went up to the White Witch, to the stone table, and he's been captured by all of the horrible beasts that are there. They've cut off his manes and they've muzzled him, and so I'm gonna read it to you. As last she drew near, she stood by Aslan's head. Her face was working and twitching with passion, but his looked up at the sky, still quiet, neither angry nor afraid, but a little sad. And then, just before she gave the blow, she stooped down by Aslan's head and said in a quivering voice, "And now, who's won? Fool! Did you think that by all this you would save the human traitor? Now I will kill you instead of him, as our pact was, and so the deep magic would be appeased. But when you are dead, what will prevent me from killing him as well? And who will take him out of my hands then? Understand that you have given me Narnia forever. You have lost your own life, and you have not saved his. In that knowledge, despair and die." The children did not see the actual moment of the killing. They couldn't bear to look and had covered their eyes. I just love that part so much. It's so... When I was 9 and read this, I must have not believed it at all. I think it must have been the first book in which one of the big characters died. So probably, I think I must have cried. I mean, lions were my favorite animals. Anyway. But we all know it's gonna get better, right? We do now. It's okay. As it turns out, the deep magic made that Aslan survived. Well, survived. Came back alive. There were a few little things that, well, I won't say bothered me, but I realized weren't completely logical. What can be explained by the whole Narnia is a magical place and it makes people braver and it makes you, I don't know, stronger and forget that you have parents because so we have okay, let me explain. Sorry. Um so we've got this Peter who was given a sword, and then at one point there's a wolf that attacks Susan, and he was given the sword the day before, and he just goes in and kills the wolf. And later there's a big battle, and Edmund is one of the more successful people in the battle, and Peter is fighting the witch, and it just doesn't really make sense to me that random boy without any training is able to do these things, except for the whole explanation of Narnia being a magical place where you get all of these skills somehow, where you're braver, you can do these things. But I kind of maybe would have liked that to be said, that although he wouldn't have been able to fight a white witch type of person or use a sword in London in his normal world, in Narnia that is possible. I just would have liked that to be said, because that is also the tone of the book, is to explain a lot of things. I mean, it is still a children's book, so I think I would have liked that. And same for, they go into Narnia when they're children, and at no point they then become king and queen. At no point did I think, our parents, maybe we should go back. That also I find a little bit weird. But while I was reading these thoughts, they were kind of at the back of my head, and when I heard them, I was like, shut up, you. I like this book. Because it's not the point of the book. The point is just to be magical. It's weird how you see a book, how you see a story is influenced by the opinion that you already have. I mean, I had already decided I loved this. So even the things that don't really make sense, I don't care about them. Or I find explanations for them. It is now, let me check, 10 past 10. Which means I could kind of still start now the third book. But maybe I need to revel in my Narnia love for this book. Just for a couple of more hours and then start The Horse and His Boy tomorrow. Pauline has already finished this, so I can directly start the next one. Talk to you next time. Hey, time to start book number 3, The Horse and Its Boy. Oop, it fell. Which I'm going to read in French and in French. It's called Le Cheval et son Écuyer. I can't remember a lot from this. Well, if any, I remember that there's a horse, and I believe there's a monkey. Maybe there's a monkey, and I remember there's something with horses' tails, that at one point a tail needs to be cut, and that's a thing. And I remember, I think we have Susan and Lucy when they're older at the end of the book. That's basically everything that I remember. So it's going to be good. I know this is during the reign of Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy in Narnia, but we don't follow them. We follow other characters. So a horse and his boy. Let's go. No, one other thing before we start. Finding these books and actually holding them and reading them, I have learned that apparently I used to crack spines. This one has a cracked spine. I despise people who crack spines now. Apparently I used to be such a person. Okay, I'm 3 pages in. I don't think there's going to be a monkey. boy. Sorry for the darkness, by the way. He's called, in French, Shasta. This is the horse. The horse is called Brie. Not like the cheese. Okay, the plot thickens. I'm at chapter 3, maybe 2, and there's a girl. There's not only a girl, there's a girl and a girl horse. Because the horse from The Horse and His Boy is a Narnian horse, and the girl horse is also a Narnian horse, so they speak, and so the horse called Brie and Shasta are escaping the southern countries and want to go to Narnia. And they just met, so this girl and the other horse who also want to do the same. And this brings me to, well, first of all, completely forgotten about that part. Although that's not weird because I also completely forgotten about the boy, because I thought he was a monkey. Never mind that. But this brings me to an issue that I have with the Narnian books, and that is the position of the women. You already have that in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, where Susan and Lucy are given weapons from Father Christmas, but they're not allowed to use them in a fight. They're not allowed to fight because when women fight, fights get ugly. And I always found that problematic. I think women are allowed to do what they want. And then we've got the whole that Peter as elder becomes king and Susan as elder becomes queen, but is still under him. And I don't think that only has to do with her just being 1 year younger. I think women are very much inferior to men in this world, in the world that C.S. Lewis created, a man from the 50s, and that this is a very much a representation of what he thinks. And you see that again in this book, because now the story, I mean, again, starting from chapter 3, I'm still in chapter 2. It's not a boy and his horse, or a horse and his boy, because we've got another horse who is female and a girl who is also going to be just as much part of the story. So why is it not the horses and their children or something like that? So yeah, this is one tiny little problem that I have with Narnia. That I'm trying to see in the context of the life of the 1950s, but even in the 1950s there were women that were protesting about their roles. I mean, at that time we'd had 2 world wars, and in those world wars females started to have a different role because they had to take up the jobs that the men couldn't do because they were out fighting. So it's the start of a period where women had more rights. So I do think that C.S. Lewis is kind of behind on the facts, even though the women that he portrays, the girls, are strong characters. They have will, but still, you see in a lot of little details, I'm seeing them more now, that they're still inferior to the men. I now really have an issue with the name of the book. But yeah. So Brie and, can't remember his name, Shasta are now joined by Hwin and Arkina. No, sorry, Aravis. At least those are the names they have in the French book. Don't know if they have the same names in the English book. Cleaning the rabbit hutch, because these little babies, and also this little baby, well, he's not little, but he's got a friend somewhere. There she is. There she is. Anyway, they poo a lot. 1 bag of poo, 2nd bag of poo, and I'm not done, as you can see, and I still need to put new hay and stuff. And they've been all over. I mean, look, he is now snuffling the bin. Oh, and she is snuffling the bin. If you don't watch out, they open the bag, and then you've got all of the stuff everywhere. He just jumped into this thing, and it was troublesome getting him out. And then sometimes you've got one that's just standing on your foot, or you're being booped. Anyway, they are not helpful. Somehow, they always manage to be in the place where you're trying to remove stuff or get stuff. But it's fun. I'm gonna miss these little guys when they're gone. Okay, we've hit a new snag in this book. Part of the book takes place in a country to the south of Narnia called Calormen. And it's pretty obvious that this country is based on Arabic countries. And the way the people from Calormen are described is not positive, is not flattering. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's hard to read. And I mean, you can present another culture. I mean, I understand that the main characters of this book want to leave that country, but you can want to leave a country preferring another one for other reasons, for reasons without you having to completely be so negative about that country then. And when you base a fictional land on an actual country, an actual culture, it becomes kind of problematic. They're all kind of corrupt, they're all eating a lot, they're filthy, there's always wars, they marry young girls to old men. It's not good. C.S. Lewis is not aging very well, I'm afraid. It's 11:45. I may have finished the book. I may have finished it in a day, knowing that the day started pretty late because we did things in the morning and I spent some time watching TV. So yeah, feeling good. But I'll tell you about it tomorrow because it's late and I need to go to bed. Well, I want to go to bed. Hey everyone, it's Editing Noran. I'm going to stop the vlog here because I think a video of 30 minutes is already quite long enough, so you will get to see the rest of my adventures rereading Narnia in the second part of the vlog at another time. But as it turns out, I never actually filmed the video in which I talked about my thoughts about The Horse and His Boy, because if you tell yourself you're gonna do something the morning afterwards, usually you don't really do that. At least that's how I happen to do things. But from what I can remember, I did really like the story, but I was really disappointed in how the people that I just talked about were portrayed, and that did bother me, as well as how the women were portrayed. But again, the story, I had completely forgotten about it, and I really liked the storyline. I really liked also seeing more of Narnia in present day. There is a part where someone goes into Narnia itself, and that it felt so homely. I really like that. But that's all I have to say at this point. You'll see, once again, the second part of the vlog later. Thank you for watching.